stall. Siakam's wide open. Got it. Yeah, you got it. Raptors finish a regular season 32-9 at home.
It is Raptors game day presented by Uber Eats. Game 82 of the regular season. The Raptors taking on the Timberwolves. Faizal Khamisa, Ashley Docking. You know the deal. We want to hear from you, of course. Send us your questions. Send us your comments. We will do our best to answer all of them. Ashley, we made it. The end of the regular season.
We made it. We made it.
We made it.
I am very excited for this game that means absolutely nothing for the Toronto Raptors to be over. As long as they come out unscathed, it's a win. Even if the box score doesn't tilt in the Raptors' favor.
Well, there are still some things to look for, of course, and we are going to get into them in a little bit. First, though, let's bring in our guest today, Dave Zarum of Sportsnet.ca. Let's start with your most recent thoughts, because you just wrote an article for Sportsnet.ca on Norm Powell. Good timing as well, coming off one of his best games of the season against the Heat. How important of a factor, Dave, is Norm Powell for this Raptors team to have any kind of sustained success this postseason?
Well, I think he has the potential to be crucial for the Raptors, and we've seen it before. You think about his rookie year, that series against the Pacers. Obviously, the I don't know if you want to call it iconic, but the iconic dunk that he had.
It was iconic. You can call it iconic. Call it iconic.
Yes,
okay,
boost
there we go.
Boost it.
By Raptor standards, that's an iconic moment.
Yes.
And so we've seen how he could be that kind of swing guy in a series. And what Norm has going for him at this moment is, we already know what he's going to bring to the table in terms of the aggressiveness. The athleticism, the kind of the defense he can provide. But what's really changed in the latter part of the season right now, heading into the playoffs, is his shooting. I mean, it's over his last 20 games, so it's not just like a little blip on the radar. His last 20 games, he's shooting over 49% from three. I don't know if you expect that to be sustained over the course of the playoffs, but if he comes anywhere near that, and it's also the way he's shooting the ball with a ton of confidence, kind of finding his spots. If he continues to shoot like that, then we're talking about a guy who on both ends of the floor can come off the bench and really swing a game or two or three or more.
Yeah, you mentioned his 20-game stretch. If you look at his 10-game numbers, they're even more impressive than that. So he's trending in the right direction, which is important. But I'm curious as to your thoughts on his leash. Like, how long is Nick Nurse going to keep him in a game if things aren't going right? Has he earned the time to make mistakes and kind of get it back together? Because this team is built to sustain a few mistakes in the postseason, but I don't know if he has that trust yet. What do you think?
I think he has a degree of that trust, but also I don't think it matters in the sense that if Norm's not producing, they could sit him down and turn to someone else, whether it's relying on your starters a little bit more or you go deeper down your bench. That's kind of the beauty of being a good team, is you don't have to rely on just one or two players in the way that the Raptors in the past certainly have had to. So I think with Norm, it's a bonus if he's locked in, and if he's not, on to the next guy.
Well, Raptors don't even know beyond tonight who their next opponent is going to be. In fact, they might still not know until tomorrow when the regular season actually ends. You've gone on the record saying you prefer them in a matchup against the Nets as opposed to the Magic, as opposed to the Pistons. Explain why Brooklyn is the better opponent for this Raptors team.
Explain yourself.
Yeah.
It's like an
Show your work. Show your work, Dave.
Well, I didn't know the room was bugged earlier when we were talking. I went on record, but basically, I think.
I'm the record. I'm the record.
Evidently, of the three teams, Brooklyn, Orlando, and Detroit, I think Detroit has the longest shot. But of those three teams, Brooklyn's probably the best team of the three. But I think for Toronto, in terms of matchups, they're actually, in terms of if you're watching, I assume you probably want the Raptors to win. For the Raptors to win, I think Brooklyn gives that best opportunity because of their style of play. Orlando and Detroit, they play slow. Big physical basketball, and we've seen that give the Raptors problems. Both those teams, Detroit's 3-0 against the Raptors this season, and Orlando split the series with Toronto. And I know that the Raptors-Nets games this year were really close. Two of them came down to a couple points. But they're a team that really relies on the three-point shot, and the Raptors defend the three-pointers really well. Also, Brooklyn is a young team. They get out, they run a lot, they're turnover prone, and the Raptors are a great team at capitalizing on those turnovers. So I think just in terms of style of play, a faster game, more kind of freewheeling, I think that's going to serve the Raptors better.
That is Dave Zarum. Thank you for joining us. Sportsnet.ca. You can read his latest piece on Norm Powell and all his stuff on the Raptors all season long and going into the postseason. Hey, Raptors Game Day presented by Uber Eats. Again, we want to hear from you, so send us your questions, send us your comments. We'll do our best to answer them over the next few minutes. I will be going on Instagram Live as well in a few to do the same thing with Dave. So if you have questions, be ready. Let's get some questions right now from Drew. Drew?
Hey guys, what's going on? I'm going to start you off with a little fun one here from
Okay.
he. That's the username.
Yeah, thank you.
He wants to know who has the best hair on the Raptors.
Oh, that's not a fun question. That is a serious question.
This is not something to joke around
No,
about. And listen,
no.
I have thoughts, but as you can see, Faizal's coif is tightly manicured. He's got the high and tight. So I'm going to defer to you first, and let's see if we agree.
It's game 82, and this is really the most important topic right now. So
All season.
my top 2 nominees are Fred VanVleet,
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard. Okay?
Yep.
Fred, bet on yourself. Got to get a haircut to bet on yourself, right? You got to stay fresh. His lineup is always tight. The fade is always fresh, ready to go. Kawhi, though, with the braid up, it's a new element. We haven't seen that in the Raptors organization in a long time. And my guy keeps him fresh. He keeps him locked. So I haven't made a decision yet. I'm going to throw those thoughts out there and defer to you.
Okay, so Fred, tight all the time.
Sure.
Classic.
I just said that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Thank you
Cool,
so much.
cool.
You want me not to agree with you going forward?
No, that's
Fred.
fine, that's
I
fine.
can't though. I can't be like Fred hairline trash because it's just not a fact. But I like Kawhi. I like the classic braids. I think it's not something that we had seen a ton in the NBA. People were wearing their hair out, growing it long, things like that. So the braid was like an ode to a classic hairstyle, which I really appreciated. So that's what I'm going to go with.
All right, so we got the same 2. Let's stick with that. Drew, what's next?
This one's from Colby. Is this Raptors season a bust if they don't make the finals?
East or NBA?
NBA finals.
No. I'm going to say no. I think that expectations are very lofty, and I think there's a chance that they get to the NBA finals, but I think the bare minimum is the Eastern Conference Finals. Will I be disappointed? Of course, but is it a disappointment? No, I don't think so.
I think it's a disappointment if the Raptors don't make the NBA final. Oh my goodness, I really do. They went out, they traded the franchise icon DeMar for the guy who's obviously better, that's for sure. We just don't know the future of this guy, and we'll get into that in a hot sec as well. We don't know the future of Kawhi Leonard in Toronto, so this presents the best opportunity ever. Lowry's 33, he's aging, we're seeing some of the struggles.
Yeah.
You have Pascal, yes, and that could help blend the new wave of Raptors teams, but it's about the now. It's about the now, and I think if they don't make the finals, what has all this been for,
What's even the point?
What has load management and anything been for if they don't make the finals? It's a really good question, one I've pondered all season long, and now that we're at the postseason finally, I think it's got to be finals.
How do you ponder? Do you have a pondering face?
Just like
I
a
would love to
slouch.
see what that looks
It's like a slouch, just like a lot of hand movements, like evaluating different things. This is really how I ponder a lot of different things. It's a lot of looking up, it's deep. Drew? Got anything else?
So this one's from Matthew.
Yeah.
Who
Hey,
are you
Matthew.
more worried about in the postseason to face in the first round, Brooklyn or Orlando?
Yeah, so Dave Azaram obviously made the argument for the Nets, and what he says is fair. But he admitted that a team like Orlando or a team like Detroit, they're inferior opponents than Brooklyn. Like, they're just not better.
Yeah.
I understand they possess qualities and traits that maybe would offer some difficulties to the Raptors, but to me, I see Orlando and I'm like pondering early success.
Are you licking your chops?
Yeah,
Is it a
licking the
big
chops.
old
That's
rib
a licking
at
the chops.
Ribfest?
And I think I look at that team, I'm like, no. They can't beat the Raptors, no matter how difficult of a matchup they possess.
Yeah.
So for me, I prefer the Raptors to play the Magic because, obviously, I want them to make the finals.
I feel super confident about the Nets. I feel super confident about the Raptors taking down the Nets in no more than 5 games. Here's the thing. D'Angelo Russell is the guy there. Absolutely. Most improved player conversation, for sure. I actually think he's going to win the award. But because he relies so much on a supporting cast, he needs one guy to also have a standout game every single game. And if his supporting cast isn't there, then what are we even? We're NSYNC without Justin Timberlake. We're the Backstreet Boys without Nick Carter,
Ooh, it was
debatably
Nick?
Ryan.
No, Kevin. All right.
Kevin!
We're not doing this.
You think Kevin's the... Anyway, we'll stick with the NSYNC one. If
right.
D'Angelo Russell is essentially the Justin Timberlake to NSYNC, and if someone else doesn't step up to do some accompaniment, so I'm like, That
was good.
I got it. I didn't warm up my
we know.
larynx.
We know. I hear you. All right, Drew, one more.
So this one is from Nolan. He wants to know, from years past Raptors teams, which one to you was the most disappointing?
I'd say last year. I'd really say last year's
Okay.
59-win team, first seed in the East. Everything looked like it would, finally be put together. LeBron's Cavs were a disaster. They traded their whole team at the trade deadline, and boom, sweep. Like, that was such a dejecting ending. Because, again, you convince yourself that this year is different, this year is different, this year is different. It wasn't different.
That's what I say to my personal life all the time. This year's gonna be different. It's always the same. I think for me, the most disappointing was it 2000 and when they got swept bad by the Wizards?
Yeah, that
2000 and what?
I think it was 15.
15?
Yeah.
When they just got embarrassed. There was no fight. There was no desire. And we saw the play kind of decrease, and it was on a downward trajectory. And then for that effort, ugh.
All right, it is game 82. What are you, I know you said, all right, nothing really to look forward to. Hopefully everyone gets healthy, that we know. What are you looking forward to for this final game against the
Do we
Wolves?
have time to do the Kawhi thing?
Yeah, let's do the Kawhi thing
Can we do
quickly.
that?
Yeah, let's do it quickly.
Okay, so first of all, what I'm looking forward to is watching Kawhi play his last regular season game as a Toronto Raptor.
So he's leaving.
Is that too much? I think
that's heavy,
I'm just starting things off with a bang here.
Heavy.
Okay, we have a photo from
Serge
Ibaka's show. And it's him and Kawhi Leonard, and they look how much friends they are. They're having the best time ever. And we wanted to kind of give you guys a roadmap for not the negative attitude that I just had, but reasons why you think Kawhi might be staying. Because you know on Twitter, he smiles, oh my God, he's staying. He gets a winter coat, oh my gosh,
he does this.
He's staying.
He's staying.
So what are some of the things that you've kind of come to the conclusion that you fooled yourself into believing?
All right, we're going to make this quick.
Yeah.
Laughing with Lowry on the bench.
Yeah.
Doing Kawhi show, period.
Yeah.
Having a relationship with Pascal Siakam. He's staying.
Okay, being sad that JV left,
yes.
Connecting to players, putting down roots. Tim Bontemps, which is the most New Orleans name ever, Bontemps, saying that he's chipper, that he's never seen him happier. Come on, man, give me a break. So those are the two reasons that I think Kawhi could stay, but...
And then there's snow, so, all right.
But he said it looks pretty at All-Star.
He's staying.
It's cold, but it looks pretty.
Game 82, Raptors' final regular season game goes down against the Wolves today. We'll be on IG Live in just a few, taking your comments and questions as well. This was Raptors Game Day, presented by Uber Eats.
The Raptors have done everything they need to do to get ready for the task that's coming up, the postseason.
Let's put the Jets on here. Yeah! Kawhi right to the rim. Great response by the Raptors. Siakam coast to coast with the hammer.
This Toronto team, they are very, very deep, which sets them up potentially for a long playoff run.